Yo, what's poppin' Instagram? Happy Sunday. Well, let me get into this. So, the New Year's has already been upon us. Obviously, we're now 30 days in. And from what I've seen in social media and from what I've heard from clients and friends who go to the gyms and stuff, the oversaturation has begun. Now, how does that affect you guys? Well, with every New Year's resolution, or fitness contest or health contest or weight loss contest that comes up this time of year, whether it's from your work, a supplement company offering some killer deals if best transformation, whatever, a wage, a pool, whatever you got going on, right? So, with that being said, everyone rushes to the gyms. Well, things have changed a little bit, you know, after the shutdowns and, still dealing with this whole COVID thing. Some stuff's changed, right? So, equipment's not being well managed or taken care of, especially in these corporate gyms, or mainstream gyms, whichever you want to call it. The cleanliness, the code of ethics is really not there. A lot of staff really aren't, setting the bar. You know what I mean? People a little more relaxed. So you got all this, and then you got the groups, the friends, the selfies, everybody doing their gym pics and wearing whatever hot gym gear they want to wear and talk about this life and yada yada yada. How does that affect you guys, the ones who are at that point of being sick and tired and being sick and tired? Well, it's simple. When you're not able to hit the pieces of equipment that you want, you have to maneuver and do other things. Well, that can be annoying sometimes, especially if you're limited on your knowledge, and especially if you guys have hired personal training through corporations. Yeah, there, I said it. See, with this video, uh, I'm going to hurt some feelings. And the intention is not that, but the intention is to educate you, the consumer, on what to look for, especially the way corporate gyms work. Now, it's been a while since I've been in that field with corporate, but nevertheless, what's the word I'm looking for? The model doesn't change. In fact, it hasn't changed since I started back in Bally's in 2006. So, with that being said, we're talking about now, I'm almost 20 years, we're 2022, so 4 more years would make 20 years since I've been at Bally's. So, get the idea? But anyway, I get lost in my time zones. All right, but to the point of it, it affects you guys, especially with these overpacked, overcrowded facilities, these corporates. It affects you greatly because your trainer is only, and I'm being honest here, everyone starts from somewhere, right? Nobody just, aimlessly goes in this thing and all of a sudden, bing, all this amount of education. And the key thing is you're only as good as not just the certifications, not the certification or the certifications you have, but how well you implement, practice, that's not where I'm looking for, just practice religiously. And not only practice it, but I don't want to use the word reinvent the wheel, but find other ways to do similar things in that kind of environment. So, with that, chances are you're going to pay a lot of money to a corporation. Your trainer, again, only gets a very small percentage out that deal. Okay? The corporate takes a tremendous chunk of that. So you're paying for a membership and you're paying the gyms a privilege to, oh, well, we have this trainer here. And in my experiences and times, corporations have gotten desperate. They'll, if you look fit enough, and you're just front desk and you have no other idea other than you look okay, or you have a little bit of a look, or you work out a little bit, then they try to encourage you to become a trainer because lack of trainers, especially when it's a revolving door. Corporations, I mean, very rarely you're going to find a trainer at one location for an extended period of time. Being honest, it's a revolving door. Like a new batch of trainers come in, and then those fizzle out, and then another batch comes in, and just the cycle continues. There's a very small handful in comparison that eat, breathe, sleep, and still do this, especially when I'm almost 15 years in. So, yeah, it's quite a time, right? But anywho, to the point I'm making on that is be mindful. Don't be in a rush to just hire anybody just because the gym says so, especially when it comes to sales departments, okay? Because you're going to be paying a fortune, not just on the corporation aspect of it, but with it being overpacked and overcompensated, you may be being utilized with a lot of gimmicks, circus seal tricks, one-trick ponies, and just things that, yeah, it gets you moving, which is great, but is it really tailored to what you want specifically? Is it really gauged that way? Or are you doing what these, commercial gym trainers do, which is what's popular or what they like? They don't go based on you. So my suggestion, and just a little bit more for information, I'm not for corporated gyms. The gyms that are all corporates, seriously, they're not only just overrated. You guys are paying a fortune, not just in these ridiculously priced memberships, but also for the amenities. And honestly, the club is only as good as that general manager, the staff they have in place, their HR, like everything that's in that club. They're based on their fitness director. Everything is only as good, seriously, as their staff. Outside of that, if they're not keeping the equipment balanced, if they're not, with this annual, maintenance charge they charge you guys year after year after year, and you don't even see one piece of new equipment, but yet it's an enhancement fee to bring in better equipment and blah, 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 blah. And you don't see one change. And if you do, it's rinky dink stuff that honestly is just there to look pretty, but is it truly functional? So, with that being said, try to find just your average mom and pop spots, seriously, because 9 out of 10, the mom and pop spots have a little bit more differences. One, they're going to cater more to you because they're not just for everybody. There are plenty of different facilities out there that you could be a part of or join. And I'm saying this because I hear the frustrations from you guys. You can't get the equipment. I pay a lot of money for my trainer, and we can't do certain exercises because the gyms are packed at these times. Everything. When stepping into this fitness game, don't just go into this blindly. Take your time and make a plan for yourself, not only just on where you're going to go, but recommendations. There are plenty of places you can go to all through SoCal. They're just more like the 24-hour independent, privately owned gyms. And honestly, I find them to be better. One, there's never been a spot that I met that's privately owned, you know, that I've not enjoyed. I've enjoyed the company of the staff. The members are great. It keeps you encouraged. There's always someone there willing to help you, or just take advice from or learn from. The upkeep's a lot better, especially when weights are racked in appropriate places and you're not going from one end to the other, to find it. So when it comes to that, this is just for you guys to kind of like not repeat the same monster over and over again. This is honestly for those of you that are really truly trying to find, and there are a lot of privately owned facilities. Now, personal training for that matter. Even for these mom and pop spots, they do offer it. Again, don't just take, because you go to that gym. There are plenty of training facilities privately. Similar to here. This being one of them, okay? Here at Iron House. But there are plenty out there, that specialize in just, you come in, you work with your trainer, and it's pretty much a trainer-client based. It's not open to the public, it's private. In the events that, heaven forbid, at least for us for that matter, if there ever is another shutdown, we don't worry about that. We're not a corporate institution. We're not governed by the same political politics or mandates or whatever it is. When you're private in a private institution, it's completely different, which makes it a little bit more effective for you, the consumer. But not to get on just that aspect of it, but when you're dealing in more of a private sector with private facilities, when it comes to getting a personal trainer, you might be happy where you're at. 90% of the chances are you're going to find that particular trainer or coach that is extremely experienced. They're not just your average, oh, I just turned 18, oh, I worked the front desk at a gym or did what's it called, maintenance, or I was the cleanup crew, and then they moved me up to a trainer and I got my certification and blah, 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 that kind of crap, not the revolving door crap. Those who, we started out when we started out, and honestly, this is what we still been doing to this day. You want your trainer or your coach to be as passionate about what he or she is teaching you, not just that, but that quiet environment that we're talking about that makes it that much more effective is it gives you that more one-on-one feel. And not only that, you're not bunched up with a bunch of people shoulder to shoulder, and all that other stuff, and then fighting over pieces of equipment, let alone you're paying whatever you're paying for personal training, whether it be at a corporate gym or private, right? And then you can't do everything that your coach or trainer wants you to do. So there are a lot of perks when working with private facilities. Now, when it comes to like what kind of market you're in for your trainer, one, you don't want somebody who's going to powder your cakes, tell you everything you do is right, and pretty much pacifies you. That's what you do not want. You're going to not only be discouraged later on when you're not seeing results, but they're not giving you reality. When it comes to personal training, our jobs are to encourage you, educate you, motivate you, but to hand you out a well thought out blueprint that's really truly catered to you, not something that you just put together, slap together, and pretty much you make cookie cutters and everybody does the same thing. Because one, is that really what your goals are? And number two, is that what you're paying for? It's not just the financial that you're paying for. It's also your time, let alone how you may feel, whether you're getting results or how you're going to feel if you're not getting results. So there's a lot to take into this. So you don't just go with what's always pretty, and definitely don't go with just because they got a bunch of pieces of paper. Whatever it is you're chasing when it comes to this fitness thing, that body type should kind of look or have that appearance of what you somewhat want. Okay, so if you're just, if you're really trying to, cut fat, be in the best shape of your life, you need to be around or have somebody who has that kind of already set for them. Seriously, this is not just me like shaming people for no apparent reason. This is boiling down to the nit and grit. So you, the consumer, has a better understanding. Now, with that being said, I was on Jeremy Scott's taping for the YouTube channel and Spotify channel that he has under Jeremy the Machine Scott, master trainer. Depending on if it's Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube. So I threw it all out there. But anyway, we had a similar discussion when it comes to when it comes to your wants and what you need to prepare yourself for. So, with that being said, dealing with me, I'm going to speak for me. Okay? You have, before you even consider hiring a trainer, all right? A few things I want you to think about. I want you to think about not just the gain and what you want out of this, not the finish, just the finishing project. I mean, it's good that you see that far, but let's take it a step back for a minute and ask ourselves, are we really willing to do what it takes to get where we need to be? And are we truly willing to do what it takes to make a lot of changes? This is not the physical training aspect of it, believe it or not, is the easy part. It's, can you be mentally invested? Not just financially, mentally invested in what you're about to take part of. Because this is not a Band-Aid. This is going to be some hard work on your part. There's going to have to be a lot of changes. There's going to be some things you're going to have to lose and be willing to let go and give up. And you're not going to like it. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to have to really be strongly willing to be uncomfortable. Because you're used to doing what's easy. The hard part is making changes. And the other hard part is because majority of us live for other people, and we don't ever want them to be upset with us, or we don't want them to feel bad. So you have to really be understanding when I say this. Can you tell people in your circle when they want you to deviate or they want you to partake in something, can you honestly say no? And are you willing to develop and learn discipline techniques on how to take those approaches when it comes to people? Because at the end of the day, you can't have your cake and eat it too, and you can't have it both ways. Something's got to give. And for those of you who are truly unhappy, and I mean unhappy, from the way you look, your health, just your overall, you have to ask yourself, are you really willing to make the change? And are you really willing to put the effort? These are the conversations that you should be having with the possibility of when hiring a personal trainer. Okay? It's not just, them promising the moon, the suns, and the quasars, making you a false sense of reality. True conversations is not just about, do you have any injuries, or what's your limitations, or what's your education thus far. It goes more in depth to your personal development and character, because there's a lot that goes into this, but everything is cut down into phases. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or step 1, step 2, step 3. And trust me, it's a process that is not going to be overnight. So you're going to have to not just invest some cash, you're going to have to invest your time. And you're going to have to willing to be that willing student. All right? So I hope with my long ass rant and my long ass video on this one gives you guys some insight to not just going to find gems and just go aimlessly anywhere, but take your time with your investments and take your time when picking a spot, because when you're picking your spots or picking your trainers and or both, it's honestly, it's an investment. So don't be just in a rush, and don't always take people's word for it. Sometimes you got to sit down and you got to work, you got to talk with a lot of people before you make decisions. All right? So this is your boy Jason, Not the Fitness, here in the city of Palmdale. Righteous Sports Nutrition, One More Rep USA. Shout out, and oh yeah, shout out to Jeremy Scott for yesterday's podcast, and it will be up shortly. Just stay tuned to Jeremy's channel and you will see it. And guys, happy Sunday, and I'm out. Peace.